Buenos dias, compadres. I hope you're having a wonderful, retrograde holiday. But if you'll excuse me, I must interrupt you for a rant. Activision's soft reboot of Call of Duty was, in all honesty, a necessary move to revitalize the series. Unfortunately, that sentiment regarding the game's core gameplay cannot be used in the same regard for the game's storylines. But to get into it, let's recount the storylines and see where it falters, primarily in Modern Warfare 2019 and 2020. Modern Warfare 2019, trademark, opens in the year of 2019 in the fictional country known as Ukraine, but more specifically, the independent region of Verdansk. We play as the CIA operator known as Alex, who is joined by an unmarked squad of US MARSOC to secure the chemical weapons facilities in a Russian FOB guarded by Russian mercs. And actual Russians. The term contemporary is relative. After completely failing to do one basic task, a group of militarized insurgents simply borrow the stinky bombs for themselves. In the second mission, we get to experience an average day in downtown Manchester. Due to the actions committed by Alcatala, Gaz and Price now cooperate to execute a search warrant. We then switch back to Alex, whose main objective was to find the very thing he was looking for. Again, in order to find the Special K, the Glowies pull a Glowy and employ the services of native rebels to resist the unlawful use of force by the Russians. Unfortunately for the CIA, the Urzikshtanians did not appreciate the Fed's use of live pawns in a geopolitical game of chess, so they peacefully removed any American presence from the country. In the most unobvious twist imaginable, it also turns out that Hassan, one of the leaders of the rebels, does not quite like the Western influence either, so he promptly cropped us the entire play area in some of that good Special K. These actions have labeled Faraz rebels as a certain T-word, but her sultry words have convinced Alex to convert, and I completely understand, brother, inshallah. After going on the most mundane manhunt ever, we capture the Butcher, one of Alcatala's leaders, and we do some very naughty things with him that would definitely get us tried in The Hague. Fortunately, with a little bit of elbow grease and forced cohesion, we grab Hassan and zero in on the Russian general who needs to die because he is bad. After causing an international incident, the main cast meet to allude to building a discreet government-funded G-squad who operate without borders, like true badasses. The ending also teases the return of resident Chad, Khaled al-Assad, which could have been very promising, but we're dealing with a company of devils, there are no promises. Now, in a decisive and ingenious move, the same way a Chinese citizen would avoid an accident, Infinity Ward continued the storyline through Warzone's Battle Royale, which went so far it fell 50 feet flat on its face and splattered all over the pavement in front of a group of nuns and kids. As it turns out, Viktor Sakayev is behind everything all along, kinda like the same way his dad was in the first game, apparently. Now, since Captain Price believes in pure, unapologetic American freedom, he chucks Sakayev off the side of the guardrail down the silo. And yeah, that was it for, I believe it was the 6th season of the game. Thanks, Warzone, you piece of shit. Now we move on to the opening of Modern Warfare 2, where we see Ghost use his 7-kill-streak airstrike on a random Middle Eastern general in the middle of nowhere. Then, title card. After playing a slightly different version of the first mission from Modern Warfare 2019, we discover that the enemy has attained
Hassan's got missiles.
On top of that, the insurgents are now using the services of the Medellin to smuggle their new toys across the border into America, since having missiles at the border is too efficient, apparently. We then meet our new protags, Alejandro and Rudy, Mexican Special Forces. After committing yet another international incident, yet again we start another manhunt for another leader of another insurgent group for the second time. Thankfully for Soap and Ghost carrying this whole team, their romp through Mexico has successfully led to the capture of Hassan Dos. However, in a tragic twist of events that we totally didn't expect, the international courts ruled a single missile more important than the man controlling all, like, 50 of them, so our mini Laden gets to walk free while Shadow Company and 141 get to chase another spicy beige carrot. Also, in another out-of-nowhere twist that we didn't see coming, the Shadow Company decided to treat their former allies the same way Germany treated Italians in the early 1945. Now, on their own, with the continued support of the CIA, US military, and Mexican Special Forces, 141 finished the fight and stopped Hassan not Assad from launching another nuke throughout the US. But just like the original trilogy, it turns out that the big puppet bastard behind everything was Makarov all along, and now the series continues with the weakest version of No Russian they could have made. Now, according to the raid storyline, the OPFOR now have more missiles that they can use for their disposal, as well as Alex, which has gone missing again. We can presume he's been captured or something, which makes this whole situation seem completely pointless and utterly fucking stupid. Now, I don't want to sound like a hypocrite, but I still do find these campaigns to be fun, at least for, like, Modern Warfare 2. I still enjoy Modern Warfare 1, but it's debatable. There are some glaring issues with the games, though, in that they should have been addressed in the writing room. One that I still have gripes with to today is the use of Assad and Zakhaev. It still pisses me off that these two main villains from COD 4 were used as just like a marketing ploy for a fucking stupid battle royale mode that spoiled halfway through its life cycle. Infinity Ward also presumes that all the players that are still connected to this game are government-funded Fed bots, since the objective of most of these games have been the same shit for the past like 5 years: get the WMD. Now, to be fair, that is like the plot of the previous games, but there's one clear difference between the old CoD and new CoD. We're no longer soldiers. In the older, good CoD games, you used to play as both the clandestine Task Force 141 or the SAS, being behind the scenes doing other shady stuff, and then you'd complement that with being the Marines or the Army in the other half of the campaign, getting your dick in the dirt, fighting off the Russians or the Op4 or any other factions. But nowadays, you just play as a operator or merc for the company, and not exactly for any line of duty. Really, nowadays, there's no longer a call to duty. It is just to maintain the peace, no matter what means necessary. Today's story and characters of new Call of Duty no longer have the identity or meaning that came from time before. That's its main core flaw. There is like no point to this anymore. But yeah, I just wanted to thank y'all for watching and subscribing, seeing my content, and checking out the channel. Seeing you guys run me up to the subscribers count I have now is fucking awesome, and I truly love all of you. My growth in this platform has been truly wonderful, and I hope to see you guys next year. Happy New Year, guys, and adios.
Ghost, no te pierdas, carnal. ¡A huevo!